Welcome to Tanakh Talk. I'm your host, William Hall, broadcasting live from Kingsland, Texas, USA, with another episode of TNT, the Twisted New Testament, with Rabbi Stuart, the man Federow from Big H, Houston, Texas. Welcome back, sir. Always a pleasure.
Back. The holidays were excellent. Forget excellent. I hope they were meaningful.
Yes, meaningful is very good. Absolutely.
Much better.
Very, very, for sure. So definitely welcome back. It's good to see you again, as usual. And so our topic for tonight is going to be, as a request, and this for people who didn't see the show previous to this one, you're definitely going to want to go back and watch the one from earlier today with Gabriel Sanders. We did a Hebrew word study on Paul. I've relabeled the video. It says Paul is a liar. The law is righteous, right? So I've had several people request that we continue the topic, and obviously you and I do things a bit differently because we do a dialogue back and forth, and we discuss things, and we also read from the YouTube chat, things of that nature. So we're going to do that tonight. So tonight is going to be, is the law a curse? Paul said it was. That's our topic for tonight. So we'll kind of go with that. Meanwhile, I'll keep an eye on chat as best I can, and if I see any good comments. By the way, there was a lot of people on Facebook that had some really good topic questions, and what? Well, you can't do that. Now you can do it.
Well, no, because Michael was asking.
Now
for
you have to do it with the music, though. Come on.
We aim to please.
Then do it with the music. Come on. The music's playing.
I don't hear it.
You can't hear the music, really? Oh, it's a link.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is. All right. That's funny. Good deal. All right. So that's where we're at. We're gonna take this thing and see what happens. And I think I gotta clear a screen here. I don't know why I've got two screens up. One with an old video. Let me clear that out. And there we go. That's what I wanted right there. Okay. So we are live. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Good deal. Good to see everybody.
Michael, I hope you enjoy my book. I hope it's worth reading and you get something out of it.
Good to see everybody. Michael Purdue, Alan Edwards, Michael Arlen, Julie A.P.
Leah.
Lori A.P. Oh, what?
Hi, Lori.
Oh, wait.
Hello, Kelly. Hello, Michael. Hello, Paul.
There you go.
Hello, Marcus. No, Marcus, I'm not continuing it. I'm giving my own take on the topic.
Right. Very good.
If you want to take the topic. I don't take it. I forget it. Okay.
That's funny. Okay, good deal. So that's what we're going to go.
Happy, healthy, prosperous, successful new year to everybody.
Right on.
A Gemar Chatima Tovah.
So we're going to take this thing and just kind of keep going on it, and we'll watch your comments as well. If you guys have anything that's relative to the point. Hello, Lori. I would like to see y'all's comments on here as well, affirming or even contradicting what we might think. We're definitely okay with going over New Testament verses because I know we do have Christian viewers who have their says they've got their points of interest that they want to discuss as well. So we're cool with that. So with that said, we'll continue, and Rabbi, so we'll kick it off. 5781, Alan Edwards. Yes. Not 5871. I saw that on Facebook. I said, man, did I miss like 11 years somewhere? I don't know what happened. Very good. Absolutely. Yeah. Very good. Okay, good deal. All right, Rabbi, let's take this thing away. So, was the law a curse?
I'm sorry, what?
I said the point is the law a curse? Paul said it was.
Is the law a curse?
Is the law a curse? I mean, according to Deuteronomy, I believe it is. It says the law is perfect. There's no other nation on this planet.
What exactly? No, wait, William. What exactly does it mean to say that the law is a curse? What does it mean? What is he actually saying when he says?
Where is it stated? Is it in Corinthians? I think. Let me look. Let me see where that's
at. It's Hebrews 3, I believe.
Hold on. Let me just look it up real fast, just for fun. And so you guys comment as you will. Let's see. Law is a curse.
Now, what does Paul mean when he says that the law is a curse?
Galatians.
That the law comes to curse us.
You were close. It was Galatians 3, not Hebrews 3. Okay, so.
I thought I said Galatians.
You may have.
You're right. I said Hebrews.
Let's look at it real fast. I just want to see exact. I don't want to misquote anything because I will get. There you go.
No, curse doesn't mean it's the punishment. Curse, it means you're worthy of punishment.
Gotcha.
You have to be punished because you are, not capable of keeping the. Now I'm putting words in your mouth, but now you're not capable of keeping the law. So the law stands to curse you, to condemn you.
Right. So 3:10 says, "For as many as are of the works of the law are under a curse. For it is written, cursed is everyone that continues not in all things which are written in the book of the law to do them. So, but at the same time, Romans 2 something, the same person is saying, that only if you like obey the law that you will be blessed. Okay, I think it's Romans 2:13 actually. Let me look that up real fast. Once again, Romans 2:13. Let me find that real fast because it'll only take a second. Okay. And then there's Romans 2:13. I think it's see. Yeah, there you go.
Majobri.
It is 2:13.
Mahobri or Mahobri or Majobri. I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
So, Rabbi, here it is. So, Romans 2:13, the same guy says, "For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law are just. They will be the ones who are justified." So he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. Some people say, well, he was talking to Jews here and Gentiles there. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, he is definitely speaking out of both sides. So that's just one touch point.
It amazes me because the statement about the law, or as, where do you go? Yes. Paul means that it was only to show how we are sinners. If there's no law telling you that you need to do ABC, then you're not going to realize that you have to do ABC, so there's nothing to show that you don't do ABC and showing that you're a sinner, which is the most ignorant understanding of how law works,
right?
Of how Jewish law works, that it exists in print. And I don't understand how any lawyer can read that and not shake their heads and wonder how anybody could think that or write that.
Right.
Okay. I mean, let's look. First of all, what is Jewish law? What is the law of the Bible, the Torah? What is it? Okay. It is the same kinds of laws that every single culture, community, city, county, state has on their law books. Okay, it's going to cover exactly the same topics for exactly the same reasons. So in the Torah, it says that if you have a roof and you want to have a party up on your roof, or you're going to be on your roof, people are going to be on your roof, then you have to build a fence around the edge of your roof so people don't fall off. Okay, that's what we call a building code.
Right.
Okay, it says that if I'm walking my dog, or technically it says if my cattle go into your property and fall into a hole, the person who owns the property is the one who's responsible for my animal falling into the hole. That's called the laws of tort, lawsuit.
Right.
Okay. Everybody thinks that Jewish law, biblical law, Torah law is just ritual, and it's not true. Okay. It's no different than any other society's laws, covering exactly the same topics for exactly the same reasons. And my analogy, which you've heard before, I'm sure everybody's heard it before by now, and that it has to do with law of driving a car. If you take everything that Paul says about the law and apply it to driving a car, you see how stupid his concepts are. He doesn't understand what law is. Okay, so his comment about which one did you read?
The last one was Romans 2:13 or 2:13.
Which says what?
It says if we sin willfully. Oh no, hold on. That's Hebrews. There's another one. Let me go back one. I'm actually got two pulled up. So Hebrews 10:26 and then Romans 2:13. Pulling up Romans 2:13 now, which states, "For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified."
And is the purpose of the law? Okay, let's go back to basics again. What does it mean to be justified?
Just as if I never did it.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Just as
That's
if
cute,
I never
but
did
it works.
Justified.
Right.
In other words, sinless. So we keep the law to make us without sin. So if I'm a sinner and I keep the law, I'm without sin. That's not the purpose of the law. The purpose of the law is not to justify us before God. That would be, let's use the analogy. The purpose of going 20 miles an hour in a school zone is so the judge will hold us guiltless.
Right. That's stupid.
What?
Yeah. Purpose
No,
is
we only become
right.
we only become guilty if we disobey the law. We're not keeping the law to become sinless. We're only sinful if we break the law. The purpose of the law is not to make us without sin. The purpose of the law is, well, let's talk about the purpose of the law. Why do we go 20 miles an hour in a school zone?
Well, for safety, to make sure no one gets ran over and killed if they get hit by 20 miles an hour. It's not going to
It's
just
better to be hit at 20 than it is to be hit
right
at
on. Right.
50.
Absolutely.
Okay. Why else do we go 20 in a school zone?
Just to answer the question, you're asking me these with answers already in your head.
Oh, you're no fun. It's the Socratic method. It makes people think. Okay. God forbid if I hit somebody at 20, it's going to hurt them less. If I'm going 20 and I have to slam on the brake, I can stop quicker. Okay. There are a lot of reasons, to go 20 in a school zone. Okay. No, all of those reasons are incorrect. The reason why we go 20 miles an hour in a school zone is to teach us that eventually we'll speed in a school zone and that we are therefore lawbreakers. Isn't that what Christianity says? Isn't that what Paul writes?
Right.
The purpose of keeping the law is so we'll know we break the law, we can't keep the law. No, the purpose of the law is to make our lives better off by following the law. Okay? Like we were just saying about 20 miles an hour in a school zone. So if I go 20 miles an hour in a school zone, I'm not going 20 miles an hour, so I will take my tickets away. I don't have any tickets yet. I only get a ticket if I go 21 miles an hour in a school zone. Except the policeman's not going to give me a ticket for going 21 in the school zone. Or if he does, he's like really a nutcase. Okay, a person who's more compassionate, merciful, and forgiving, God or a police officer? Okay, so if a police officer says you have to go like 25, okay, 28 before he'll give you a ticket for going that fast in his 20 mile an hour school zone, God is equally, forgiving, more forgiving. So the purpose of the law is to make our lives better off. And as we've said before, if you love a child, you give the child guidance on how to behave. You don't just say, as long as you love me, you go do what you want. That's not love. That's not loving the child. That is allowing the child to learn that he's never going to get into trouble, so he gets into more trouble later on in his life. You love the child, you give them, guidelines. Same thing with God and us. If God loves you, God gives you, laws to help your life be better off. Like the state does when it says go 20 miles an hour in a school zone to protect the children and, all the reasons we already cited. Okay. Another thing that they misunderstand, that he misunderstands about the law. Okay. I've talked to people, Christian groups, churches, whatever, and 613 laws. That's so many. Really? How many laws are on the state in which you live? How many laws are on the law books of the state in which you live? Okay. How many laws do you think there are in the state just regarding how to drive a car? Okay. Every law counts. So you're going to have a law that if there's a stop sign, you have to stop. If you have a, yellow light, you slow down, okay, because it's about to change. I mean, there are laws. Every one of these laws you count up, I kind of think they're going to be a lot more than 613. Part of those laws are that, they apply to a person driving a truck, an 18-wheeler. If I don't drive an 18-wheeler, those laws don't apply to me. So when we talk about 613 laws,
exactly,
it's just it's Paul was intentionally stupid. Okay, it's as if he was intentionally misrepresenting how law works in any society, much less Judaism. Okay, he makes it look like we keep the law to be justified. It's like saying I keep the laws of driving 20 miles an hour in a school zone to take away my tickets when I don't even have a ticket until I break the law. Okay, so let's talk about getting a ticket. Okay, which is another element that he forgets. Okay, if you get a ticket in a school zone, or any ticket, for example, a moving violation, what do you do about it? You pay the fine, okay, or you take a class, I forgot what they call it here, the driving class, and pass the class, they, take away the ticket. Well, who says that if you pay the fine or if you take the class that it's like you didn't get the ticket in the first place? The law itself tells you how to make up and get back on the right side of the law. It's if you don't obey the law that you stay on the wrong side of the law. If I get a ticket for speeding in a school zone and I never pay it, I'm outside the law until I pay it. It's by obeying the law that gets me on the right side of the law. Because in the law itself are embedded the ways that you get back on the right side of the law. So it's like nonsense how they view the whole the law bit. Okay, if I'm driving in a school zone and I see that I'm going 25 miles an hour in a school zone, I am breaking the law. So does that mean I am guilty of murder? Because if you break even one law, it's as if you broke every other law as well. And part of the laws on the state of Texas, for example, is you're not allowed to murder somebody.
Right.
So by going 25 miles an hour in a 20-mile-an-hour school zone, does that mean I've committed first-degree premeditated cold-blooded murder? Because
Nope.
If you break one law, it's as if you broke them all.
No, but that's exactly
what.
what the New Testament teaches, and the teachers of the New Testament teach. That's exactly what they teach. That's such horrible concept.
Because they have no concept of what law is about.
Right.
And they misrepresent it. And they try to make you feel guilty for something that you've never done and wouldn't think of doing, okay? Because eventually you're going to make a mistake. You're not if I go 23 miles in a school zone, okay, I'm breaking the law. Does that make me an evil person? No, I made a mistake. So how do you make up for the mistake? You hit the brake. You slow down. You see you're making a mistake.
Right.
You stop.
Correct.
And once you do that, the police are going to ignore you because now you're doing the right thing. You're still in the school zone. You were going 25, 23, but you hit the brake. You're slowing down. Right on. They're not going to pull you over. They're going to pull you over and go 55 in the school zone.
Yep.
Which, by the way, brings up another issue that Paul simply doesn't get. As a matter of fact, I would honestly say that a lot of people don't get. It's not just Paul. Okay, it's like it's all or nothing. You have to do it all, or it doesn't matter what you do. So if I'm in a school zone and I go 25 miles an hour in a school zone, I'm breaking the law. According to Paul, I may as well go 90 in a school zone because to break the law at 25 is the same as breaking the law at 90.
Right.
No, it's not the same thing.
Now take it one step further. Now this could be. They may think, oh, well, you're nitpicking now. But put it this way, using the same exact logic, it would be the same as like, well, if I thought about committing adultery in my mind, I might as well just go ahead and do it. Or if I thought about doing something stupid like robbing a bank, well, I might as well go ahead and do it. It's the same penalty. That's stupid. Right. There's no logic in that whatsoever. It's completely heretical, no doubt.
But it makes it renders guilt.
Sure.
It makes a person feel guilty. Christianity convinces you that you have an illness you do not have, and then tells you that only Christianity has the solution to your illness. They're the only ones with the medicine for your illness that you don't even have in the first place. You're a sinner, you're broken, you're a horrible person, you're a bad human being because sometimes you make mistakes, you sin, okay? And so you're a horrible human being, you're a bad human being, and the only way you can get rid of being a bad human being is to believe Jesus died for your sin. They convince you
right.
have a disease you don't have, and then tell you they're the only ones with the cure for the disease you don't have. And plenty of people swallow it.
Right.
Okay? Doesn't make you an evil person. So if I'm going 25 and I may as well go 90, you go 25 miles an hour in a school zone, yeah, you might get a ticket, especially earlier in the year when they want to make you have the right habits. Okay? But you go 90 in a school zone, they're going to pull you over and haul your tushy into jail,
right on.
Which you richly deserve.
For sure.
So the whole Pauline view of the law and why we have the law and what it does. Oh, that's another interesting question. Does anybody really want to live in a city that has no laws? If the law is a curse and the law is something bad, and the law's purpose is to teach you you're not going to keep the law, okay, and therefore you need Jesus to die for your sin because you're not going to keep the law, eventually you're going to break it, isn't it better to live in a city that has no laws whatsoever? Which, by the way, is kind of his point.
That's exactly what's happening now. I mean, if you think about people defunding the police, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And on top of that, now that they're doing it, people are complaining because there's no justice. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Because the only thing you need is love. God is love. And if you love a person, you don't want to hold them guilty.
Right.
So just every direction you go, every viewpoint you take of Paul is a complete and total misunderstanding, misrepresentation of what is law, how it operates, and how it benefits society. And by the way, if I grow up from the time I am born to the time I am a teenager that tells me the law is bad, why should I keep it? If I learn from my first time I take a breath, I'm learning that Jesus died for my sin and I don't have to follow the law anymore. Oh, well, it's only ritual law. It's only the law of the Bible. Yeah, but the law of the Bible is don't murder, don't steal. So if I'm going to be forgiven for it, who is more likely to wind up in jail? A person who's growing up believing that the law is a bad thing, or a person who believes that the law is a gift from God?
Right, of course.
So, I mean, it's that simple.
Yes,
to me, it's that simple.
Agreed.
They just, if you take what they say, if you take what Paul says and apply it to drive in a car, is what I always use because everybody does it. Okay. You're going to see how really stupid it is. And there's no other word for it.
Right.
So, well, that was simple and easy.
It was. Now we're gonna have to go.
And it's the same. It's the same analogies.
Yeah.
We've talked about these analogies before in a different context, I think.
Right. Okay. So let's
by the way, when Paul says you cannot be justified by the law, I just want somebody to show me where the Jews said you are justified by the law. Just show me one place where it says.
Now, depending on where you read, Paul said that, because actually the one I showed you last time in Romans 2:13, and then also in Hebrews 10:26. That's a shell shocker for a lot of people, man.
Wait a minute, I don't remember what you mean.
Okay, Hebrews 10:26. Basically, let me go back forward here. 1 second. Romans. Oh, I'm going the wrong place. Hang on, so let me pull it back up again. Apparently, I lost it on my search. So let me go to. I think that's the right one. Kind of going off memory. I haven't studied the New Testament in years, so I'm starting to lose memory on some of that stuff, which I don't really care, but it's okay.
Hey, I'm getting old. My memory's not because I haven't studied it. My memory's because I'm an old man.
Okay, Hebrews 10:26 says, "For if we sin willfully, if we intentionally sin, after that we have received the knowledge of truth, there remains no more sacrifice for your sins." He's basically saying right there, there is no forgiveness for intentional sins, but there's not a church on this planet that teaches that. But Paul clearly says
Judaism doesn't teach that.
No. What I'm saying is there's not a church on this planet that teaches what he said, which this is actually true. They teach that every sin, it doesn't matter what sin you commit, Jesus will forgive you for any sin you commit, no matter what. You just got to go and ask him. But Hebrews 10:26 says more what Judaism teaches. That's the whole point. Judaism doesn't teach that. Neither does this. They don't ever teach these certain scriptures, these certain verses from the New Testament. They don't teach them in church because they contradict what they believe. But the other one was the Romans 2:13, and that's the one where we were talking about the last one we mentioned. So let me pull it up. Romans 2:13 says you're only justified if you actually keep the law. And Paul said that here. Now he did say the opposite elsewhere, but at least here he did say it right. Okay,
it doesn't even make sense.
Romans 2:13, I'm reading it right off the page. "For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified." Paul said that.
But just tell me where in Jewish scriptures or Jewish rabbinic writings, where does it say that we do the law in order to be justified before God?
That's not the point at all. The point is Christianity.
That's my point.
The point is all of Christianity teaches that you cannot be justified by the law, but Paul here is saying that you have to be. That's the only way to be justified. But Christianity teaches totally different. That's my point.
Right. But my point is that Paul claims that the Jews believe that we keep the law to be justified before God.
It depends on where you read. He speaks out of both sides of his mouth, and a lot of people say it's because he's speaking to two different audiences.
Right, but let's pretend he didn't speak two different
but you can't,
sides of his mouth.
You can't
what I'm saying is that his statement, wherever it is, even if he contradicts it, whatever his statement says, that the reason why the Jews keep the laws to be justified doesn't show up anywhere in Judaism. Show it to me.
Right.
That's my only point.
I agree with that. The whole point of
I knew eventually you'd come around to my way of thinking.
Well, I knew what you were saying, but what I'm talking to the Christians who are watching the show right now, where Paul is teaching them something completely different than the church teaches on both those scriptures, or they're not scripture, both of those verses of the New Testament. So, okay, so we kind of did expound that. I'm going to read over some questions on the topic tonight, and tell me if there's something here you want to go. We got about half an hour left, so Julie, we got you covered, girl. Thank you for that request for the continuation. Okay, Jeffrey Hill says, why do some consider the New Year is in the spring when the barley is in Aviv?
It is the New Year.
Why do some consider the New Year is in the spring? We're not in the spring.
It is in the spring.
We're in the fall. And this is Rosh Hashanah. This is not
New
the
Year.
spring. This is not. I know. That's my point. That's the question that you need to answer, though. So, point is, like you had the school.
What are you talking about? You answer it.
Look,
you're doing a good job.
Okay, so the New Year to Americans is January 1st. But what happens with tax season? When is the New Year in tax season? When is when is the New Year for school year? Right.
Right. Exactly.
That's simply said enough.
Point.
Okay. All right. Yasmin Coates. I'm sorry. She's had to miss
Nina.
Tonight. Okay, Kurt Gatton, brother, says the four horsemen of the pop. That's a great topic. I don't know enough about it to talk about it, but that's something I really need to.
It is, to my knowledge, it is a purely Christian thing. You know, like one of them is disease. In Judaism, the Bible talks about disease, as a punishment or whatever. But the four horsemen, okay, that's all Christian. It's all Revelation.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay, Joseph Shalim, Genesis 7:1. Lord said to Noah, "Come down all the house in the ark. They have seen the righteous before me in this generation. It can be seen the flood was regional and generational, but not global. No wild animals listed. The limited size ship. The tops of the mountains being flooded."
What chapter was that?
Let me Genesis 7:1. It says mountains being flooded are expressionisms. How the flood felt to those who never ventured out of their towns. I get that. That makes sense. Throughout their lives. No global flood reported in China or India. Now, I can only answer half of that. I can't. The other half I can't answer. The first half, and that's why we talk about this, Rabbi. This is fun. So my logic with the whole size of the ark, is to me is very simple. I mean, if I was going to pack, hundreds of animals or thousands of species into a big ship, I would make sure I picked the babies, not adults, so that you've got a year for them to grow up and not have to worry about mating, pooping, eating too much, the whole 9 yards. Your space is not an issue. That, to me, is a no-brainer. But the other part I don't know about. The whole idea of no other global floods reported in China or India or on those other sides. I could see how that may not be true. I mean, it may be true, it may not be true. I don't know, because the biblical range of the people in biblical times seem to be in a remote area for the most part. So I can't answer that, Rabbi. Maybe you can shed some light on this topic.
On which the size of the ark?
No, the actual regions. Was it a global flood, or was it actually?
You can look at it both ways.
Okay.
And here's why I say that. Okay. Take a look at Genesis chapter 9, verse 10.
All right, give me 1 second. Pull it back up.
Genesis 9:10.
Okay. Genesis 9:10 says, "And with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl."
Right. At this point, I think they're still in the ark. I think the water's gone down. They're about to come out of the ark. This is what he says.
Okay, "And with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl, of the cattle, of every living beast on the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth." Keep reading.
See, that's just it.
To every beast of the earth. Okay. Not the ones that are with you, but the ones with the earth also.
Wait, say it again?
Because it mentions of the earth twice. Once it says, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the earth, to every beast on the earth. Not the ones that are with you. Oh, I never saw that before.
Join your family.
No kidding. I'll be dang. So that's very possible. It could have been regional. Right.
So one could understand for that.
That's really cool.
Clear.
Never saw that.
The Hebrew is clear. Okay. Mikol Yotzei HaTeva, from those who go out of the ark, Lechol Chayat Haaretz, to all of the life of earth.
Nice. Very cool, man.
You could interpret it. Okay. You may say that it's not the specific general understanding of how this whole story works, but you could understand that verse to say that the flood only affected one area, and when the animals come out of the ark, God tells them, go to your families.
Right.
Go to all of the life of the earth.
Interesting.
In other words, join your families.
So the Hebrew actually reads that way too also? It
says, Lechol Chayat Haaretz, okay?
Nice.
To all life of the earth.
That's nice. Wow. That could explain some other things that I've been questioning about, because there's a midrash that teaches that one of the kings, King of Og, I think it was like his bedstead was like 13 feet long, whatever. But anyway, it says that he may have clung to the ark. I'm thinking for a year that didn't make sense, but he clung to the ark to survive, right? Which is why he's mentioned later on after the flood and post-flood. But it would make more sense that he might have just escaped to a faraway land to escape the flood, and then he returned. That would make a lot more sense to me, but just a thought. Okay, so that was Joseph Shulman. That was a really interesting topic. Okay, so Rupert Hart, Christians say that man was made in God's image. This justifies Jesus. I know we're going to have fun with this one. Having the human features, he said, what's the rebuttal?
Well, we talked about this a few weeks ago, I think.
Yes,
about
we did.
Anthropomorphisms.
Right.
You know, describing God in language that humans can understand, because God is portrayed as having human characteristics so that we can understand the concept behind it. So God's walking in the Garden of Eden in the cool of the day. So God has a big toe. God has a knee. Right. And that's not how Judaism really understood made in the image of God.
Right.
If you read the context, it's more of the idea that we can understand the difference between good and evil. We not only have the capacity to, but we ate the fruit, therefore we know the difference between good and evil, just like God does.
Right.
So, you know, we can reason, we can understand our own guilt, we can understand the mortality and exactly what that means. You know, so.
Gotcha. Is there?
No, I don't remember I don't see his question.
It's not on YouTube. It's on Facebook. What was the last question you're working on? Oh, right here. Rupert Hart. Christians say that man was made in God's image. This justifies Jesus having the human features. God sending himself down as a human being to begin with.
Right. Then why did God tell us in Numbers 23:19, if God were a man, he'd be a liar?
Right.
If all men lie, and God becomes a man, then like all other men, God too would become a liar because God is a man.
I think Deuteronomy 6 for me is even harder, because I think that's where Deuteronomy 6 or Deuteronomy 4 maybe, and that would be where it says, do not do as other nations and corrupt yourselves by creating image of those things on the earth, or even male or female beast or whatever. Says don't corrupt yourself by making
no image of God.
Right. Don't. By
the way, if you say, I can't remember the theologian, but there was a theologian who pointed out that if you say what God is, okay, God is male. We talked about God is he. If you say what God is, you are limiting God, because you're saying God can't be, in this case, female.
Deuteronomy 4:16.
If you say that, I'm sorry?
Deuteronomy 4:16. I think it's the one where it says.
I'm sorry, I was looking at 6.
Yeah, Deuteronomy 4:16.
It's 16. 4:16. Lest you deal corruptly and make yourself a graven image. And it goes on from there. Exactly.
Right.
So, that's what I was going to say.
That's okay.
Every week I do that, don't I? Okay, but the point is that you know, if you say what God is, you are implying God is not or cannot be something else. If you say God's male, he can't be female. If you say God is female, you're saying he can't be male. yeah, whatever, then you're putting a limitation on God. And every single image we have of God is an idolatry. So if my image, if God were right, if God were righteous, I should win the lottery. Well, I didn't win the lottery, so God isn't living up to my image. But my image is by definition idolatrous.
Right.
Because any image of God is. So if I have an idea that God became a human, going back to what we said a couple minutes ago, what about Hosea 11:9? For I am God and not a man. Is he making is he belying his words?
Right.
You know, is he changing his mind? Is he promising I am God and not a man, and I will not come to destroy? In other words, I won't let the fullness of my anger and my retribution for what you've done be expressed. Okay, and yet Jesus is a human, and by the way, that leads to some other problems. If Jesus died on the cross, and Jesus, it was the man part of Jesus that died, it's nothing but human sacrifice.
Right.
So the whole idea of Jesus as a human being God, which is the hallmark of pagan faiths. Okay, every other pagan faith in the Greco-Roman world confused humans with God. Even Hercules.
Sure.
His mother was human, his father was God. So,
Same thing, right? For sure.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Moving forward. So Dwayne Borchers, hope I said your name right. I've never heard this question before. May not pertain to our show.
Why may not have an answer.
Why do humans die? Why is God allowing the world to run the way it's going now? Okay, I think that's kind of too of a broad statement. It needs to be more specific. I don't know. I know that.
Let me wait a minute. Okay. Let's talk about that reasonably, rationally for a minute.
Okay.
Not religiously.
Sure.
Okay.
Overpopulation. That's the only thing that comes to mind.
Well, no, it's more than that. Let's talk about the individual.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. How old then becomes old?
Right.
Right now, I'm 67 and I'm feeling like I'm 167. Right. Okay. I am 67. In a lousy 13 years, I'm going to be 80. 67 plus 13 is 80. Okay, how old is old? So if we're going to live forever, are we going to stay 35 for eternity? Are we going to stay a baby for eternity? I mean, when does development slow down so that instead of 60, instead of 70 is the new 50? Now it's 600 is the new 400?
Right.
I mean, does any of that even make sense? Okay. Living eternity is a really long time.
Right.
Okay. That's one thing. The other issue is, when did the idea of death and an end to an individual life, individual creature, individual human, dogs and cats, squirrels, whatever, when did the concept of death come up? And just real quick, if Adam and Eve have to eat from the tree of life to become immortal, that means they're already mortal.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So from the moment of creation, from the moment God designs the universe, death is a part of that creation, of that design. Death was not brought into the world because Adam and Eve sinned. Death is part of the universe because God created it that way from the very beginning. So death doesn't become a new invention because of sinning. Okay. Death is the natural order of things.
Now, to kind of add to that, the comment I made earlier, I was really serious about that. There was a verse I was thinking of in Exodus 23. Not 13. You get stuck on 13s here. Hang on a second. Let me see what verse that was. 23:29. And so when I said overpopulation, I really meant that, because, I mean, the earth is only so large, and there's only so much vegetation, and there's only so much stuff. But there's a spot on 23:29 where it mentions about like God not driving out all the animals of the beasts of the field, but all at one time, but over a gradual point of time, suggesting there is a plot even in dealing with animals in their lifespan, right? And so 28 says, "And I will send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivites, the Canaanites, blah, blah, blah. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year, lest the land become desolate and the beasts of the field multiply against you." So it's like he does have some sort of order, the way things are supposed to work in balance. And so my thought on the whole idea of overpopulation really does stand kind of true, that there is an expiration date, so that
and
more life
it
can be
makes
sustained.
sense to have it. We don't like it,
Yeah, right.
okay? But on the other hand, do we really want to live forever? and if I'm going to live forever,
Right.
as I just said, as I just described it, am I going to live forever as a 30-year-old, 18-year-old, 2-year-old? Am I going to live forever as a 150-year-old?
Right.
Okay. Am I going to live forever infirm, or am I going to live forever healthy?
Okay. Right.
If everybody gets cavities, okay, over time, does that mean I'm going to live forever with no teeth? Because eventually they'll come out. I mean, we don't like the idea, but it really,
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to scoot on forward. So Marlene Van Hooser has a good question. In my mind, in my thoughts,
are you on YouTube or are you on Facebook?
It's on Facebook. All these are on Facebook.
Okay.
I really, in my mind, I feel like this really could fall into the category of Lashon Hara, which could be maybe not. It says that there is a whole lot of putting down people, mocking and ridiculing people going on in their political or religious views if they differ.
Yep.
I'd like to hear the rabbis address this biblically. And again, that's what I think of. You got Motze Shimra, and then you got Lashon Hara. So evil speech, either way, whether it's true or not, doesn't even matter. The whole idea of Lashon Hara is, unless it's absolutely mandatory that the person knows, you can't say negative things about people. Period.
You can't wait. You can't say positive things about people.
Wait, whoa. What's wrong?
You don't talk about other people.
Period. Not even positive?
No. William, if I say
this is new to me. I didn't hear that before.
Think about it.
Okay.
I don't know how you're going to respond to something.
Okay.
And if I tell you, hey, I know this other person who happens to be in Dublin, Ireland, and he makes fantastic videos, and I'm putting a little jealousy in you. I never said anything negative about him. I'm telling you something true about him and positive about him. But now I've created enmity between you two, maybe.
Interesting. Yeah, you mean you possibly could have.
You don't talk about other people, period.
Interesting.
Except in the instance that the person you're talking to needs information to protect themselves for whatever reason.
Okay.
And by the way, okay, if I say to you, hey, William, I know that you just got into this business deal with Bill Schmo, okay, and I got to tell you something. Bill Schmo cheated me out of something, you're going into the same kind of business thing with him, but he cheated me out of it. I'm telling you to be careful in business with him, right?
Right.
But I am not allowed to say to you, hey, William, I know you're going to business with Bill Schmo. Did you know he beats his children? Do you know he, I don't know what. Do you know that he got a divorce?
Right.
It's not relevant to you. That information is not relevant to you. Maybe those are bad examples, but my point is that they're not relevant to you to protect you. All I am supposed to tell you is what protects you. You don't talk about other people. It's the hardest thing, for people to do is not talk about other people. Okay, it's a very difficult thing. But Lashon Hara is not just telling lies, untruths, inaccuracies about someone else. It's also telling the truth about someone else, because you don't know how the person's going to hear it. Talking to Mary Jane and say, hey, Mary Jane, I just had Jane Mary's pie, and it's the best pie I've ever had. How do I know that Mary Jane doesn't think that she's the best cook and maker of pies?
Okay.
And now I've created enmity between those two. You don't talk about other people, and that's what Lashon Hara is about. Okay, but show me the concept of Lashon Hara. Start over. Show me the terminology, Lashon Hara. I don't think you can find it.
Right.
Concepts there.
Yeah, the concept for sure. It's the same thing with is it Motze Shema, right? It's like even
yes,
for constructive. No, it's something to do with
Motze
constructive.
Shema, we get from Mitzorah, which is the name for
leprosy or whatever.
Yes, but we know it can't be real leprosy, which is called Hansen's disease, because it talks about the disease going away.
Okay.
Hansen's disease up until 1970s, 80s, there wasn't a cure for Hansen's disease.
Okay.
Now for leprosy, now there is. So if the Bible talks about it, calls it leprosy because the translators don't know what else to call it, okay, and it goes away, it can't be real leprosy. So there's, anyway, the point is that it's a play on words from the word we just said it, and I can't remember what it is. It becomes the play on words becomes mostly same ra when the word is mitzorah.
Okay.
So it's a play on words.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, but there are stories in the Tanakh where gossip, somebody telling something that somebody else shouldn't know. I'm going to get this wrong. I haven't looked at this in a while, and my memory's not great. King David, before he was king, is fleeing from Saul, and he takes refuge with
Jonathan.
Not Jonathan.
Oh.
Bad memory is a really bad thing, especially for the rabbi.
Okay.
Okay. At any rate, he gets comfort. He gets food. He gets.
Oh yeah. From the lady.
I thought it was a guy, but the point is that Saul finds out about it because of somebody's big mouth.
Okay.
Okay, and wreaks havoc on that person or that family. I can't. Okay, so it's an immediate lesson from the Hebrew scriptures about evil speech.
Okay. Right.
Okay. So I'm not saying that it isn't in the Tanakh. It clearly is in the Tanakh, but it's laid out. Okay. It's formulated. It's put together. Okay. As a concept of Lashon Hara is really rabbinic. Okay. The ideas are taken from incidences in the Bible. Okay. But it's a construction. Okay. There's a great book. And what's his name? We just talked about memory, didn't we?
Yeah, that's okay.
I can't think of his name. At any rate, those who would love God, I can't think of it. All right. Life for old people can be very frustrating.
It's okay.
But I'm having a mental block. I can't. Anyway, the point is that he laid this out so carefully, so perfectly, so it's probably the synagogue. Anyway, it'll come to me in a few minutes.
Okay.
But he wrote books on Lashon Hara. He wrote books on Musar movement, the ethics of Judaism, and he just lays it out. There's another book he wrote, which is here's the situation. How do you apply the laws of Lashon Hara to the situation? And it's brilliant.
Okay,
just perfect.
Gotcha.
Like,
no worries. Okay, so I'm going to try to kind of keep going. We got about 10 minutes left. Let me see what I got here.
Yeah, it's okay. We can go long.
424.
I don't want to. I can't.
Lost my. Snap. Let me try this again. Exodus 4:24. Let's see what that is. 24, not 4:4. Okay, I say. Okay, Exodus 4:24. And it came to pass, by the way, in the end, that the Lord met him and sought to kill him. Okay, so the Lord met him. Now, is this talking about an angel?
I hate the word Lord as a translation of God.
I know. Right.
Okay, or the eternal.
Right.
Okay.
Gotcha, 424. I'm going to look this up on the Hebrew while we're looking at it. So if you would comment on that, if you don't mind.
Give me 1 second.
No problem.
See, it doesn't give anybody's name. Why don't they do an article? They never. Ugh. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. So what was it? Say it again.
Leviticus 4:24.
Okay, wait a minute.
I'm pulling it up now.
Levi Tuchus. What was it for? What?
4:24. Let me see. That's chapter 1.
24. And he shall let. Wait, what?
It might be 23 or 25.
Are you sure it's Leviticus?
Probably not. Let me look again. Sorry. No, I'm sorry. Exodus. My bad.
Exodus.
Yeah, sorry about that.
24. Oh, this is the whole circumcision thing. So what's the question?
I think the whole point is about the Lord met him, like he met God face to face, sort of a thing. I'm guessing.
I don't understand. What's the problem with that?
No, because I mean, God is not in a human form. That's the problem.
Yeah, but you don't have to.
Hold on, you're in it just froze.
Form. God can meet us in spirit.
Okay, pause. Back up. You froze for a minute, and so I missed about a full sentence of what you just said. So back up.
I'm sorry.
It wasn't your fault.
When the text says that someone met God, why does it have to be meeting God in a human form?
Right.
Okay, let me tell you what happened probably about 4 hours ago. I have a cousin, calls me all the time on anything and everything, and I love him. He's my cousin. At the time of the High Holy Days, and a lot of congregations do this on the Sunday between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, they will go out to cemeteries, and it's a time to remember our beloved dead, because, holidays do that to us. Any holiday does that. You remember being with a loved one at a holiday,
right?
At a birthday, at an anniversary. Okay, same thing with the high holidays. So he went out to the cemetery where his grandparents. He's a cousin, not my grandparents. Anyway, the point is that over the phone, he wanted me to recite various blessings that one recites for those who are deceased. May God remember the soul of my beloved Billy Joe Schmo. Okay. May his soul be bound up in the bonds of eternal life. They're prayers hoping God remembers them. Okay. May God remember the soul of my beloved so-and-so, or God who is full of compassion, who dwells on high, bring under your sheltering wings the soul of. Okay, it's just ways to remember them. Okay, right. So I did it for him on the phone, and he said that was the most spiritual thing that has happened to him at the high holiday season this year. So you could say he met God. He felt the closest with God because of his experience. So God has to come in human form before my cousin for him to feel that? Who says just because it says God met him that it means there was a figure of a human being standing in front of Moses? That's a Christian projection into the text of what Christian theology believes. That makes sense?
Yeah.
You get that?
Yep. Okay. Okay, so moving forward, let's see what we got here. Okay, that was 424. Let me put that on here. I'm trying to comment so people know that we actually didn't ignore them. Okay, so Jane D. Smith. No, that's kind of like a different topic. Okay, so let's see.
I don't care.
There's one about Ruth Bader. Okay, so
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah. Lorene wants us to comment on Teshuvah. I guess it's just a comment. I'm guessing, Lorene, I'm not sure what you meant, but are you wanting to know what the concept of Teshuvah should be? I'm not really sure what that question is. Get back respond back to me before we go on there. And let's see what do we got here. There's more. The Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. Francisco Gaviel would like to know what the Judaism's teaching on.
Well, first of all,
yes,
it's not Holy Spirit. It is the Spirit of holiness.
Gotcha, or divine presence.
Ruach HaKodesh. We've talked about this before. Ruach HaKodesh, Kodesh, is a noun.
Gotcha.
Spirit of holiness, not a Holy Spirit. Holy becomes an adjective describing spirit.
Gotcha.
So it's a spirit of holiness, which is like a feeling of revelation, a feeling that a person gets from having been in, not contact, but receiving revelation from God, an ability to comprehend, understand something beyond their senses or something. Okay, it's not the same thing as a Holy Spirit, as if you can take God, divide God into parts that are not equal to each other part, but somehow they're one and the same.
Right.
Okay, you got to remember in the New Testament, how are the different persons of God described? Okay,
it's like an attitude of, not an entity of its own.
Exactly.
Right.
Different will.
Right.
Not my will, but your will be done. Garden of Gethsemane. The guy comes up to Jesus and says, "Can I sit next to you?" That's not up to me to give to you. That's up to the Father.
Right.
So only the Father can give permission, but Jesus cannot give permission. That means Jesus isn't equal to the Father. When is the coming of the end of days or whatever? I don't know. Only God knows that. Only the Father knows that.
Right.
Well, that means they're not equal in knowledge. If they're not equal in knowledge, they're not equal in strength, they're not equal in will, how could they be one and the same?
Right. Right.
So the whole bit is just not biblical, not Judaism.
Got it. That, my friend, is
What was it about the may she rest in peace?
Here, I'll read it for you real fast. Hang on. Let me scroll back down to it here. Getting there, almost there. Almost there. Oh, there it is. Okay, so Jane D. Smith, is it kosher for a Jew to lie in state for days on end before going to be buried? Regarding Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
It's not just in days on end. It's at all. You don't display a body.
Right.
Judaism is closed casket. You don't display bodies. It's in Judaism it is considered an insult, for lack of a better term, to the deceased.
Right. Because
you're displaying them, and you don't want them remembered in a negative way. You don't remember laying there. You don't. It's just not done in Judaism. And for her to be lying in state, I don't care what kind of honor it is.
Right.
So people can walk by her and see a dead corpse. That's just not Judaism.
Right.
It is appalling to me. Although you know how these things work, you got all the pressure of politics and not just one side of the aisle, both sides of the aisle. They want to honor her.
Sure.
Okay, it's the first. I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's the first female to lie in. No, it's not the first female because, wait, I don't remember. It's a special thing for her. It could be the first woman to be lying in state in the rotunda or whatever they call it. Okay, the family probably everybody wants to honor her, whatever.
Right.
Okay, but it's just not Jewish to have a person open casket, lie in state, whatever you want to call it, because it's not it's not Jewish.
Right.
Okay.
Yep,
I can understand them bowing to the pressure of the demands. I really can. I can understand that.
Right. Well, very good. Well, Rabbi, we are wrapped up. We actually hit all the questions on there tonight. That was pretty cool. We may have to do this again. That was kind of.
I love answering questions.
Well, I like it when there's a lot of questions and we can cover a lot.
I don't claim to be able to answer all of them. I don't claim to know.
But we can talk about them. We can.
I can't quote chapter and verse like.
Right.
Michael or Tovia. I just, I'm not, that's not me, but
right,
if I can help, I will.
Very good. Well, it sure was fun. That's for sure. So, yeah, that's awesome. It was a good show. Definitely fully loaded. Probably the most questions we've answered in one show in a long time. So that's really awesome. So, Okay, cool. So on another note, I want to say thank you guys. There's some really exciting news. We're trying to get the building paid off like really quickly. There's a balance. If we pay cash, it's going to be like $6,700 or something like under $7,000. But if we pay it out for the next several years, like it's scheduled for, we'll be paying like over $15,000 for this thing. So we actually had over the weekend a single donor had donated $3,700, and she was hoping to get somebody to match that. That's a lot. That's a lot to bite off. But anybody who would love to help us out here to get this burden out from underneath our feet for this upcoming year, that would be awesome. TanakTalk.com/donate. Or just go to the website and look for the donate button at the bottom, or you can send it to the P.O. Box. It's also listed at the website. So all of your help is insanely, amazingly helpful. It'll definitely free up a huge time burden and expense for us here so we can kind of continue on with less stress. So with that said, if you haven't got Rabbi Federow's book, Judaism, Christianity, and Contra, my wife loves that book. I mean, because it's such a fun and easy read, and it's a small little package. It's absolutely amazing. Got to go to whatjewsbelieve.org and find this handsome rabbi's book. It's so cool. And if you're not aware of Rabbi Tovia Singer's books, you can go to his outreachjudaism.org, and so many other resources available. And so I'll see if I can put something up for at least, actually, I don't know if I have that ad on this one. I'll look for it next time. So, but Rabbi, thank you. Awesome show.
Well, always my pleasure. Always fun.
Had a great time as usual, and love all the interaction.
And Gamar Chatima Tova to everybody. May you be inscribed in the book of life.
Wonderful for the next year. Absolutely.
May the finish of this be a sealing for good.
Wonderful. Absolutely.
Gamar Chatima Tova.
Rabbi, we love you, man. Finger dance.
Love you too.
Give it up. Give it up. Get that finger dance. Come on.
Hey, let's dance. Beware a clergy who cannot dance. That was a big line. And, what was the movie?
That's funny. I don't remember. Rabbi, you have a good night. We'll see you guys. Peace out, everybody. See you next time.
חשוב והכרחי להיות ביחד